to, in the foreseeable future, do I like the English expression. I could speak German, but I want to. I want indeed allow journalists from elsewhere to be able to follow up. Anklage erheben should be possible in directions of but few psychologists that I have encountered. Kotlarov, that had taken, in inverted commas, my mother, is maybe dead, maybe still living, maybe the same as seen here and in the R13 homeless camp center. I'm reversing the role now. And then the row of seconds, if one wills, having attempted, still attempting to take my person over, would be now the row backwards. The person recently marked with a reel, a video streak. This one, namely 83, Facebook. Priya, though still of relevance, thank you so very much for the diagnosis that enables me to live on €1,000 a month. Other than to regularly go to the Arbeitsamt and having since already missed several appointments due to the letterbox problem. Thereby would have had to live on less. So maybe people think, oh, here has injustice be done, and we want to make good for that. The person that has as a halfway young woman and I want to say the name does not fit the person, female. The second one that is a look similar to a Staatsanwalt in Berlin, quickly shown after that one had vanished. Or was he still meeting up with me? Maybe this one, the psychologist, being on the calculating paths now. Where do I earn more, and where is it easier? Just to scribble down a Wichse, yeah, if one is honest, I received from Erfurt Wichse. For example, when I filed a complaint in 2008 or so, on possible charges of 246 StGB, was rebuffed very fast, fastly rebuffed. It took them just 3 days, including the postal delivery time. Or is it easier just to listen to stories that I know all too well because I have co-developed and just scribble down something here, take this or that, buy it at least. Priya, the person that I met on several as if advertising, as if my formulation, as if a exam has had to be passed to do something like a psychotherapy. Then already preparing for futurist times. Well, law we have led to its detriments. Now we're preparing for just as before described. I went 5 times or what to see an elderly lady that later would encounter in her male version. I would suppose it was the brother on several occasions. Then late, I admit, I asked myself, did I see that person in a row? Was it all every time the same? Also Then the person that I had been together with, we have now arrived in mid of 90s, and in the time frame that therein falls murder attempts, outfilterable only by means of various text forms in terms of how do I approach that what I had swallowed, but it was a communication that was telling, and I at times thought, what is that now? I've um, the change of flats from to Marburg 4 from Marburg 3 falls therein. It is described in also several texts already listed in IAW underscore liste alle Texte. Um, um, what else in that time frame? The change of relationships to love relationship number 3 from prior number 2, and then now I can understand that one together with that one they played me parents. And because I was on fucking terms with the male person, yeah, one can assume he played me. He played me an educating person that would then sell in inverted commas me off. But now, as it appears, it is highly likely that those people indeed set up former social contacts of mine set up a website and earned thereupon, knowing when inviting else people to comment that I would be made to a target as that that if found dead, um, no one would have been interested. I can formulate in past now. No one would have been interested at all. Thereby, showing but into their midst into circles of other people, we can just do anything, and no one gets us. Yeah, yeah. So that person also psychologist. What if the Entmietungsbusiness? What if the Entmietungsbusiness had begun to team up with, for example, psychologists? This idea one must get. Am I again but a test case, or is it already common? The Entmietungsbusiness as such is common in certain cities in Germany. I restricted to Germany. But the idea to combine that as if to make everything waterproof, was it meant like that? Did you read the person that you have not spoken to in your life? Did you read that one correctly? Likely not. Um, what if they teamed up and made everything waterproof? And what then, on grounds of having shown you the combination that I'm denied, and that enable else people here to data and so on further, and earn into else pockets but not into mine. Um, the co-usage of flats, the co-usage of a first household that was recognizable, presumably to one or the other of that gang. Though I did not get it back. I had to spend years and months. I could have bought less, but I spent indeed loads of time, foreseeably, to get myself here nicely together again, in my own eyes. Yeah, the beholder thing. Uh, what would that complex concerning the first part of my in inverted commas combination? What if that what if transferred to the computer criminality problem? What we have it. Um, what uh, what uh, uh, what was afforded there? Indeed, it was. It afforded here one or the other corrupt policeman in his Beamtenverhältnis that he wants to keep, that's not interesting. Die Staatsanwältin. The Staatsanwältin, for example, presiding over the computer criminality department in Erfurt. Erfurt, a historic university city which draws. My negative advertisement is one way or the other for free here. It indeed afforded to occupy that department, either preoccupy it by choosing a person presiding that, or by later, in inverted commas, infecting that. That person is mentioned in a blue line in the aforementioned Liste IAW underscore Liste alle Texte. From then, from then everything else becomes false as if logically into place. So this is that, and the question is how that aforementioned video streak or reel number 83 Roman letters. What if that very triangle, as if coincidentally, but mind the other video streak or reel in this Facebook appearance of mine would also fall in. Then we would have three other elements. One house of a certain house number combination, namely it's here 3, 6 to 8, including 7. The second element, no, the first element is the combination. That one would have set into a practical importance in other ways than letting one, me, for example, a question mark, experience that, but on the other hand, commissioning things. So the second element would be here the house as such, and then of course it's logic developed further. Who are the inhabitants? Who are the inhabitants? Where are they from? And who do they miss/resemble? Why? This would lead too far. This leads us back into way earlier decades. The tenants here, the single tenants here, and here we arrive at that post 83. Listen in, yeah, the in inverted commas triangle that I draw you. And I later had to, one day after, I thought, hey, the address that I get that weird schreiben from, the law company, geometrically has to be included. Though we would have two triangles. We would have the tip is the one triangle is starting from here and opposite, stretching there, and the opposite tip, as if opposite, yeah, but they are communicating already, would be the door entrancing into that building. That building that I have described on several occasions in several videos because it was necessary. I had to. It was obvious, but it was not clear why and in which ways obvious. Now I think I have made one step further, but into which crowd do I tell that if everyone in that very crowd was made to profit? I think I have to congratulate myself that I was out in 2006 following and if that was costly. But I think having stayed here would have been way costlier if one must formulate it like this, if life was still something worth. Yeah, because it becomes less worthwhile if you are made to lose control and as if to accept, tolerate just that very combination, fat intrusions and computer criminality. Uh, you are dependent on. I don't have to explain that. In that triangle video, let's call it like that, number 83, is also questioned which kind of role the media plays and what they are used to, and if directly having been delivered, they could indeed have made sure that the person that later on appeared in videos was either rightfully contracted. I was not. I can repeat that. Or else possibilities that one could have thought of. It was possible as of summer 2007 to place for example, an RTL bus in the near of my place, then there, Erfurt 2, during the days in which did then fall my birthday. Maybe it was a weekend even. Um, um, So they did not, and if having been delivered, and if such an important company that I was recommended to after the arson and the 2004 arson, and then the question, here she has a household insurance. It might have been a coincidence. I ended up being received a recommendations, and there were but three included immobile no yeah immobiles, included a TV indeed, and included alternative energy. I can say I did not invest in TV and not in Siemens. I want to say, if such a big company that was even being advertised for, and as of these days again, as if to remind something, maybe something like a hoops, here someone has lost again. They must have had a proper person to contract with, and let that have been a law firm. A small law firm in a university city, and maybe I was visible for those kind of people, easily accessible in 2006 following. Oh boy, that stinks. That indeed stinks. And but also other places were as if shut and closed, but for other people as well. I did not check, for example, the BKA, because this all is big enough, and that was already clear, or be emerging from the three-page schreiben that I put online on LinkedIn in 2002, I think. There it was already clear that maybe the 241 thing was indeed still relevant. Let them not have been that cooperative, that they teamed up, that they now teamed up with, but the second part already well fitted, well suited to whom though, with the legal expert. Let her be a legal expert, and not a former car seller or so. Technical experts here and so on. The BKA has made it itself very inaccessible by demanding a DE webmail address if being addressed. For that, here from Erfurt in Thuringia, one has to travel as far as, was it Gera or Gotha? It is nearly 100 kilometers far to visit there a tiny kiosk in order to get such a Gmail address approved and filed. This is this is this is this is this is that. And if that is the case, that the BKA itself teamed up or was teamed up, question would be by whom, when, on which grounds, and so on and so forth. The question then would be the intrusion of a flat part of that very combination. Who else might have been seated in there? This is not easily answerable. One could think else doctor types, if one wills, or completely from different fields. If it was comparable, then it would indeed be different doctor types. Else, the BKA, well, it communicates in else directions. Doctors also do. Médecins Sans Frontières comes to mind. Would also be a harker back to Marburg 2 times. Then maybe, if that was true, one could expect but another a website in 3 years only, seen from which point of time, and one could expect one could expect not so very nice ideas that might have begun to set into the making, indeed. And what else? If all those buildings here, halfway rentable money-wise, were to be refilled because other flats are way too expensive. This is but one ground of the 2008 Lehman crisis, if I've understood correctly. Then one indeed could expect that those flats here become more interesting for else people. Therefore, it would be necessary, indeed, to send little girls being in the educational grown-ups, to send those persons around to but re-rehearse what was possible already 2007 or 2008, when but I needed a new flat and got one in a surrounding, though, that already then also was unbearable, because a similar constellation. Above, people telling, below, I don't know, somewhere in the neighborhoods, I might remember. Then here and there, messages, even one a written message. But what to do with that? I was down. Firstly, I was occupied with writing first version of my reconstruction. Secondly, and thirdly, I myself could have written it. Yeah? I myself could have written onto a paper or what. I don't even recall. It was Druckschrift. It was not a written fluid, as if I don't know. Also, yeah, yeah, they cannot totally empty, but a complete building. The age-wise, it is mixed, I would assume. maybe more to the older than 50, but you see very young people here and children. So they would now somehow enable themselves to place into certain buildings like this, to set up floors that are conjunct above the one presiding, likely not doing anything with regards to what the person downstairs is working upon, but being in the commands of that. If that assumption was true, but laptops can be shifted to elsewhere fastly, would enable to be able to look to know where to look out for. Um, because people write astonishing things. Not everything is easily sellable without any consequences. Um, then downstairs, yeah, in my case here, it always changed. Yeah, the idea have floors where people are being let onto into to live there, and let them freak out, molest them, don't greet properly, though giving them the impression, what does that person have to do with me? Something, yes, but why? I, one feels awkward. Um, this would allow to know which kind of people could expect to be affected. One might that negatively affected by that, like that.